Hello everyone, and welcome back to Brutal Truth. So far in our Skate King series, we have learned how Rodney Mullen practically invented the modern-day version of street skating that we know today. And in part 2, we saw how Tony Hawk would then take skateboarding and bring it to the masses. And in today's episode, we will learn how Rob Dyrdek would take both of those things, smash them together, and bring skating into the corporate business world, forever surrounding skateboarding with a sense of professionalism. Born on June 28th of 1974 in Kettering, Ohio, Rob would take to skateboarding at a very young age and become a professional at only 16, at which time he would drop out of high school and move to California in pursuit of furthering his skateboarding career. And luck would be on his side because he would acquire many sponsors, including Drawers Clothing, that would eventually become DC Shoes. But as the money started to roll in, Rob would become too comfortable and his creativity would become stagnant. And when DC noticed this, they would approach him with a contract that would only allow him to be involved with the company for 2 more years. They all but told him that his best years were behind him and that this would be the last contract he would sign with DC Shoes. But instead of only seeing the negative in this situation, Rob would walk out of the office that day making a promise to himself that within those 2 years, he would completely reinvent his own image, transforming himself into a more creative but most importantly more marketable person, thus forcing his sponsors to reconsider the termination of his position. And that's exactly what he did. And when the day finally came that DC approached him with a more long-term contract, this time it would be Rob making the rules.
And then literally in that 2-year span, became the best skateboarder of my entire career, but also to the very top of the industry. Then from that point on, only signed 2-year deals with DC for the next 10 years because I was like, no, 2 years from now, you're going to pay me even more.
And from that day forward, he would go on to lead many successful companies such as Alien Workshop and Silver Trucks. He would design over a dozen best-selling signature shoes for DC, and all but become the face of MTV with 3 of the most-watched TV shows on the network. And all of this combined would turn him into arguably the most recognizable skateboarder in history, labeled as one of the most influential skateboarders of all time by Fox Weekly in 2014. Think about it. People that have never been around a skateboard in their life still know who Rob Dyrdek is. My grandmother knows who Rob Dyrdek is. And through all of these great accomplishments that he has made, they would put him in a position to shed a new light on skateboarding. Looking back on his life and everything that skateboarding has given him, Rob would then decide to give back. And in 2010, he would launch Street League Skateboarding. And for the first time in history, skateboarding would have a professional league that, as far as function and business goes, could compare to the likes of the NBA or even the NFL. And I don't think that people nowadays really understand just how important this is, because if you had told people in the 80s, 90s, or even the early 2000s that skateboarding would one day have a professional league that was aired on ESPN, they would have laughed at you.
Okay.
Because in those days, such things were deemed impossible because, quite frankly, skateboarding was not taken seriously as a sport. And we have Rob Dyrdek to thank for why it is taken seriously today. And it's so much more than that. It's not just about having prize money and airtime on television. It's about the fact that children growing up nowadays that dream of becoming professional skateboarders finally have something to point to. They can turn on the TV and say, "Look, Mom, look, Dad, I'm not wasting my time with this. If I try hard enough, I can get there. This is a thing." And if you don't see that as a beautiful milestone in skateboarding history, then I don't know what to say to you. And what makes Rob Dyrdek even more vital to the future of skateboarding is that he has no intention of stopping there. He intends to start little leagues, minor leagues, basically copying the formula of all other sports out there and creating an outlet for children of all ages to start a career in skateboarding.
Little league that goes to amateur series, that goes to semi-pro, that leads to street league and leads to the championship, right? It will be the premier global skateboarding platform, period.
Do you understand what this means, people? This means that in the future, our children will go to school, and instead of only having the option to play football or basketball, they will have the option to join the skateboarding team. There will be coaches put in place to teach people how to skateboard. There will be skate parks as far as the eye can see for children to go to and hone their skills at their sport, and no security team to kick them out for simply doing what they love. Rob is already doing an outstanding job at this just through his foundations.
As Americans, we believe sports are a positive influence in our kids' lives, that they build character, teach important lessons, and keep them out of trouble. So if one day we woke up to discover that all the basketball courts, football fields, and baseball diamonds in America had disappeared, we would build more. So since we tell the 11 million American kids who skateboard that every place they do it is unsafe and illegal, I believe we should build them places that aren't.
And the most important part of all of this is that there will be a definitive ladder for children to climb in order to become a professional skateboarder. They will compete at a middle school level, a high school level, a minor league level, and so on and so forth until they get to the major leagues. Gone will be the days of just filming yourself and hoping that a sponsor notices you, which is practically the equivalent of a miracle happening. And we have Rob Dyrdek to thank for all of this. So the next time that you see Rob and you think that he's just a sellout for MTV or that he doesn't even care about skateboarding anymore, I want you to watch this video one more time and remind yourself just how much that man has done for the sport and how he has single-handedly ensured that skateboarding will have a future. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and join that notification group because I have plenty more to come. I want to thank each and every one of you that have been supporting me so far, and for everyone watching out there that hasn't subscribed yet, please consider doing so because the bigger this thing gets, it only means that I can bring you even better content. Thank you for watching, everyone, and I'll see you next time.